The grand hall of the Zyrathian Imperial Palace stretched so vast that clouds formed near its ceiling. Thousands of alien dignitaries stood in perfect rows, their scales, feathers, and chitinous armor gleaming under the artificial suns that lit the throne room. At the center of it all sat Emperor Vex Thor, his massive reptilian form draped across a throne carved from a single meteorite. His golden eyes scanned the crowd with barely concealed contempt. Marcus Chin stood near the back trying to make himself invisible. He wore a simple gray jumpsuit with an Earth Alliance patch on the shoulder, looking painfully out of place among the elaborate robes and ceremonial armor around him. 6 months ago, Earth had been forced to join the Zyrathian Empire after a brief, one-sided war. Marcus was just a mechanic from the Houston station, but when Earth needed someone to attend this tribute ceremony, his name got picked from a lottery. Lucky him. "The human will approach," boomed a translator device echoing through the hall. Marcus walked forward, his boots clicking on the polished stone floor. The crowd parted and he could hear the whispers and chittering laughter. Humans were still a novelty here, considered primitive and weak. He climbed the steps to the throne platform, his heart pounding. Emperor Vex Thor leaned forward, his massive head tilting to study Marcus like a bug under glass. "So this is what Earth sends. A worker. How appropriate for such a simple species." The crowd erupted in laughter. Marcus kept his face neutral. "Don't react," he told himself. "Just get through this." "Your people claim to be builders and fixers," the Emperor continued, his voice dripping with amusement. "You take broken things and make them work again. Is this true?" "We do our best, Your Majesty," Marcus said quietly. "Excellent." The Emperor clapped his clawed hands together. "Then I have a gift for you. A perfect gift for a human mechanic." 2 guards dragged something onto the platform. At first, Marcus thought it was a pile of rags, but then he saw the movement. It was a dragon, or what was left of one. The creature was maybe 10 feet long, its body covered in dull purple scales that should have shimmered but instead looked diseased. One wing hung at a wrong angle, completely shattered. The other was twisted and scarred. A rear leg dragged uselessly. The dragon's golden eyes looked up at Marcus with a mixture of pain and resignation. "This is Scareth," the Emperor announced. "From the Drakmor species. Once they were warriors. Now they are pets and decorations. This particular specimen is defective. Useless. Even as a trophy, it has no value." He waved a dismissive hand. "But you humans fix broken things, yes? So fix this." The entire hall exploded with laughter. Marcus heard bets being placed in various alien languages. Some were wagering on how many hours before Marcus killed the creature. Others bet he would simply abandon it. Marcus looked down at the dragon. Scareth stared back at him and Marcus saw something in those eyes. Not hope. Hope was probably long dead in this creature. But there was intelligence there. Awareness. The dragon understood exactly what was happening. This was meant to be humiliating for both of them. "I accept your gift, Your Majesty," Marcus said. He knelt down and carefully slid his arms under the dragon's body. Scareth flinched, expecting pain, but Marcus was gentle. The creature was lighter than he expected, probably from starvation. "Thank you." The Emperor looked puzzled for a moment as if Marcus had missed the joke. Then he laughed even harder. "Take your prize, human. Let us see the miracles your species can perform." Marcus carried Scareth down the long hall toward the exit. The dragon's breath was shallow and rapid against his chest. Behind them, the laughter continued. Someone called out, 3 days before it dies." Another voice answered, "I give it 1. Marcus held the dragon closer and whispered, too quiet for the translator to catch, "I've got you now. We're going to figure this out." Scareth's eyes closed, but one claw very gently gripped Marcus's sleeve. The workshop smelled like oil, metal, and now something else, the sharp scent of infection. Marcus laid Scareth on a padded workbench he had cleared of tools and parts. The dragon weighed barely anything, just skin stretched over bones. His breathing came in short, painful gasps. Marcus spent the first hour just examining him, moving slowly and talking in a low voice. "Okay, let's see what we're dealing with here. I'm going to touch your wing now. I'll be gentle." Scareth's eyes followed his every movement, alert but too weak to resist. The damage was worse than Marcus had thought. The left wing had been broken in at least 5 places and never set properly. It had healed crooked and useless. The right wing had severe burn scars that had destroyed the flight membrane. The rear leg was shattered, probably crushed deliberately. Old scars covered Scareth's body, some from whips, others from energy weapons. This dragon had been tortured. Marcus felt anger rising in his chest, But he pushed it down. Anger wouldn't help. He needed to think like a mechanic. Every problem had a solution if you were creative enough. First priority, keep Scareth alive. Marcus mixed together a nutrient paste from his own food supplies, adding water and some vitamins. The dragon refused to eat at first, turning his head away. Marcus didn't force him. He just kept offering, kept talking. I know you don't trust me. That's okay. But you need to eat if we're going to fix you up. After an hour, Scareth finally took a small amount. Then a little more. The days blurred together. Marcus slept in his workshop instead of his quarters. Every few hours he checked on Scareth, cleaning wounds, changing bandages, offering food and water. He researched dragon biology on the station's limited database. The Drakmor had been conquered 80 years ago. Most of what he found was about how to control them, how to break them. But Marcus dug deeper and found older files, scientific studies from before the conquest. He learned what dragons should eat, how their bodies worked, how they healed. Word spread through the mining station. The other workers, mostly conquered species themselves, would find excuses to walk past Marcus's workshop. A four-armed Krellian named Nort left a bundle of high-grade titanium rods by the door one morning. A mantid engineer called Klickthar dropped off medical supplies. Nobody said much. They just watched and left things that might help. 2 weeks in, Scareth spoke for the first time. Marcus was adjusting the splint on his leg when he heard a rasping voice. Why? Marcus looked up, startled. Why what? Why help me? The dragon's voice was rough from disuse. I am nothing. Broken. The Emperor was right. Marcus sat down on a crate, meeting Scareth's golden eyes. You're not broken. You're injured. There's a difference. Broken means it can't be fixed. Injured means it just needs time and work. I cannot fly. I cannot fight. What good is a dragon who cannot do these things? I don't know yet, Marcus admitted. But we'll figure it out together. That's what humans do. We look at a problem from different angles until we find a solution. Scareth was quiet for a long moment. The Emperor gave me to you as a joke. Yeah, well, joke's on him. Because I'm actually going to help you. Something changed in the dragon's expression. Not quite hope, but maybe the possibility of hope. You are strange, human. Marcus. My name is Marcus. Marcus, Scareth repeated slowly. I'm Scareth. I was once a warrior of the Drakmor. Nice to meet you officially, Scareth. Over the next months, Marcus worked on designs for prosthetic wings. He tested materials, adjusted angles, failed and tried again. Scareth watched everything, asking questions, offering insights about dragon physiology that weren't in any database. Slowly, the dragon's body grew stronger. The wounds healed. Muscle returned. And something else grew too, trust. Marcus never forced, never rushed, never caused unnecessary pain. And Scareth began to remember what it felt like to be treated with dignity. Late one night, as Marcus welded a joint on the new wing frame, Scareth spoke quietly. Thank you, Marcus. We're not done yet, Marcus replied with a tired smile. No. Thank you for seeing me as more than garbage. Marcus's hands paused. You were never garbage, Scareth. Never. The morning Scareth flew for the first time, half the station gathered to watch. Marcus had spent 6 months designing and building the wing system, a combination of lightweight titanium frames, synthetic membranes and microthrusters for stabilization. The wings attached to reinforced plates grafted onto Scareth's shoulders, connecting directly to his nervous system through neural interfaces. They stood on the station's large cargo bay, the massive doors open to the vacuum of space beyond. Scareth wore a custom environmental suit that left his new wings free. Marcus checked every connection one last time, his hands shaking slightly. How do they feel? Marcus asked. Scareth flexed the mechanical wings. They responded like natural limbs, spreading wide with a soft whir of servos. Strange. But they feel like mine. Remember, the thrusters will help you stabilize. Don't fight them. Just think about where you want to go. Scareth walked to the edge of the bay, looking out at the stars. For 80 years, his people had been bound to the ground, their wings clipped, their freedom stolen. He turned back to Marcus and nodded once. Then he jumped. For a terrible moment he fell. Marcus's heart stopped. But then the wings caught the vacuum, the thrusters fired in perfect sequence and Scareth soared. He twisted, rolled, dove and climbed with a grace that made the watching crowd gasp. The cybernetic wings glowed blue at the edges, more beautiful than natural wings had ever been. When Scareth finally landed, his eyes were bright with something Marcus had never seen before, pure joy. I flew, he whispered. Marcus, I flew. The crowd erupted in cheers. Workers from a dozen different conquered species crowded around, touching the wings, asking questions. For the first time in living memory, they had seen one of the broken made whole again. That night, Clickthar the Mantid approached Marcus in his workshop. The insectoid engineer's compound eyes gleamed in the dim light. That was impressive, human. But also dangerous. Dangerous how? You have given hope. The Empire does not like hope. Clicktar's translator clicked softly. There are others who watch. Wait. They ask. If a human can restore one dragon, what else is possible? Marcus understood immediately. You're talking about resistance. I'm talking about survival. About freedom. Clickthar leaned closer. There are 300 Drakmor dragons scattered across Empire worlds. All crippled like Scareth was. There are thousands of others from dozens of species, wounded, broken, discarded. The Empire breaks people and throws them away. But you fix things. Scareth entered the workshop, his new wings folded against his back. He had heard everything. Clickthar speaks truth. My people were warriors once. Before the Empire crushed us, we defended worlds. Now we are toys and trophies. I'm just a mechanic, Marcus said quietly. I fix ships and machines. You fixed me, Scareth said. You gave me back my sky, my dignity, my purpose. He placed a claw gently on Marcus's shoulder. The Empire thought giving me to you was a joke. They were wrong. You have shown me that broken things can be restored. That the discarded can rise again. Clickthar produced a data chip. Locations of resistance cells. Names of engineers who will listen. Species who still remember freedom. The Mantid set it on the workbench. I'm not asking you to fight. But teach us what you know. Show us how to rebuild what the Empire has broken. Marcus looked at the chip, then at Scareth, then at Clickthar. He thought about Earth, about how humanity had always hated bullies and tyrants. He thought about the laughter in the Emperor's throne room, the casual cruelty of giving away a living being as a joke. He picked up the data chip. Okay, Marcus said. But we do this smart. We help people first, fight second. We build, we restore, we teach. And when the Empire finally notices what we're doing. He looked at Scareth's glowing wings. We'll be ready. Scareth's lips pulled back in what might have been a smile. The dragon's roar begins with a whisper. Then let's start whispering, Marcus replied. 3 months after Scareth's first flight, Emperor Vexthor watched a disturbing report in his private chambers. The hologram showed dozens of supposedly crippled dragons flying again, each with mechanical wings. Worse, the human mechanic had been spotted meeting with known resistance members across 5 different systems. This is unacceptable, Vexthor hissed. I gave him garbage as a joke, and now he dares to make me look foolish? He slammed his fist on the armrest. Send the Skyguard. Bring me the human alive. Destroy the dragon. And broadcast it everywhere. Let every conquered species see what happens when they dare to hope. The Skyguard was the Empire's elite, 12 of the finest pilots flying the most advanced fighters in the known galaxy. They arrived at Marcus's station without warning, weapons hot, broadcasting their intentions across all frequencies. This was meant to be a public execution. Marcus and Scareth were in the main hangar when the alert sounded. They looked at each other and nodded. They had known this day would come. They had prepared for it. Marcus sealed his custom power armor, a design he and Scareth had worked on together, combining human engineering with ancient Drakmor technology. It wasn't bulky like Imperial armor. It was sleek, responsive, built for speed and adaptation. Scareth's wings glowed as he powered them up, additional weapon systems emerging from hidden compartments. Remember the plan? Marcus asked. I remember. You go low, I go high, we make them very sorry they came here. The Skyguard expected to find a scared mechanic and a pet dragon. What met them instead was a synchronized combat team that fought like nothing they had encountered before. Marcus's armor let him move in ways that confused the Imperial targeting systems. He didn't fly in straight lines or follow predictable patterns. He bounced off asteroids, used station structures as cover, appeared from impossible angles. His weapons weren't the most powerful, but he placed every shot exactly where it would do the most damage. He fought like humans had always fought, smart, dirty, and unpredictable. Scareth was fury given form. His mechanical wings made him faster than any natural dragon, and the weapon systems Marcus had built into them turned him into a flying arsenal. But more than that, he fought with 80 years of rage behind every strike. Each defeated Skyguard fighter was payback for every crippled dragon, every conquered world, every species crushed under the Emperor's heel. Within 15 minutes, 8 Skyguard fighters were disabled. The remaining 4 tried to retreat, but Marcus had hacked their communications. He broadcast on all Imperial frequencies, his voice calm and clear. This message is for Emperor Vexthor. You gave me a broken dragon as a joke. You wanted to humiliate us both. But you made a mistake. You gave hope to someone who knew how to share it. You gave a future to those you thought had none. He paused. Your joke became our revolution. If you want to stop us, come yourself. Face the things you thought you had broken. The last 4 Skyguard fighters surrendered. Marcus and Scareth brought them into the station as prisoners, treating them with respect, giving them food, medical care, and freedom to contact their families. Several of the pilots, who came from conquered species themselves, quietly asked about joining the resistance. The broadcast went viral across the Empire's networks. Conquered peoples watched the battle footage again and again. A human and a dragon, 2 beings the Empire had dismissed as worthless, had destroyed the legendary Skyguard. The message was clear. The broken could be fixed, the weak could become strong, and the Empire could be beaten. On dozens of worlds, resistance cells emerged from hiding. Engineers began requesting Marcus's designs. Dragons who had given up hope started asking about mechanical wings. The whisper was becoming a roar. In his palace, Emperor Vexthor stared at the broadcast, his claws digging into his throne. Prepare my flagship, he snarled. Assemble the full battle fleet. I will crush this rebellion personally and make that human watch as I burn everything he has built. But deep in his eyes, for the first time in his reign, there was something unfamiliar. Fear. The Emperor's fleet arrived like a storm of metal and fire. 300 warships, the largest armada the Zyrathian Empire had assembled in 50 years. They surrounded Marcus's station and the ragtag collection of ships that had gathered there. Mining vessels, cargo haulers, and civilian transports modified with whatever weapons the resistance could salvage. Emperor Vexthor broadcast from his massive flagship, his voice filled with rage. Human, you have made a fool of me for the last time. Surrender now and I will make your death quick. Resist and I will destroy everything you care about. Marcus stood on the bridge of a converted cargo ship, surrounded by aliens who had become his friends and allies. Click their work the sensors. Nort manned weapons. And beside him, Scareth stood tall, his mechanical wings gleaming. Your Majesty, Marcus replied calmly. You gave me a gift once. A broken dragon you thought was worthless. Do you regret that gift now? You are nothing. Vexthor screamed. A primitive mechanic playing at war. I will crush you. Maybe, Marcus said. But you're going to have to work for it. The battle began. The Empire's ships were superior in every measurable way, bigger guns, stronger shields, faster engines. But Marcus had taught the Resistance something the Empire had forgotten. Adaptation beats raw power. The civilian ships didn't fight like military vessels. They spread out, used asteroids for cover, attacked from unexpected angles, and retreated before the Empire could focus fire. Every ship had been modified differently, making them impossible to predict. And the dragons? Oh, the dragons were magnificent. 37 restored Drakmor warriors, each with cybernetic wings and weapons, each fighting with decades of suppressed fury. They moved through space like silver fire, too fast for Imperial targeting computers, striking at weak points Marcus's intelligence network had identified. Scareth led them personally, his voice carried across Resistance frequencies. Remember who we were. Remember what they took. Today we take it back. The Emperor watched in growing horror as his organized fleet fell into chaos. Ships collided trying to track the unpredictable Resistance vessels. Fighters were picked off by dragon squadrons. His commanders kept asking for orders, but every tactic they knew was useless against enemies who refused to fight by the rules. Finally, Vexthor did something no emperor had done in generations. He left his flagship personally, wearing combat armor, determined to kill the human himself. They met in the damaged hangar of Marcus's station. The emperor was massive, covered in battle armor that had crushed 100 warriors. Marcus looked tiny in comparison, just a human in homemade power armor. You should have died quietly, Vexthor snarled. You should have accepted your place. Our place? Marcus asked. You mean broken and beaten? That's not a place. That's a prison. They fought. The emperor was stronger, faster, more experienced. He landed blows that would have killed an ordinary human. But Marcus's armor absorbed impacts, redistributed force, turned the emperor's strength against him. And Marcus fought smart, targeting joints, using the environment, never standing still. Scareth burst through the hangar doors, followed by a dozen other dragons. They surrounded the emperor, their weapons charged and ready. Vexthor looked around at the beings he had thought were broken forever. Impossible, he whispered. I broke you. All of you. You tried, Scareth said, his voice cold. You gave me to a human as garbage. As a joke. But you know what you really did? You gave a broken dragon to someone who fixes broken things. You gave hope to someone who shares it freely. You gave your enemies exactly what they needed to defeat you. The Emperor fell to his knees, his armor sparking and damaged. Outside, his fleet was in full retreat, commanders surrendering or fleeing. The mighty Zyrathian Empire was crumbling. Marcus stood over him. You asked if I regret your gift, your majesty. But I think the better question is, do you? Vexthor had no answer. He had given away what he thought was worthless trash, and it had cost him everything. In the weeks that followed, the Empire fractured. Conquered species rose up across the galaxy. Marcus continued his work, not as a conqueror but as a teacher, helping species rebuild themselves. And Scareth became a legend, the dragon who was given away as a joke and returned as a revolution. The Emperor's gift had indeed been humiliating. Just not for the people he had intended.